Hello, folks. I have to do this again. I'm sorry, but I have to talk about this one more time. And I promise you, in the near future, I'm going to play some of my favorite tunes on here. I also like to write on here. This is the Baritone Ukulele again. Let's revisit this one again. The Baritone Uke is unique. I was watching today, that right there, the high E string. I was watching today. I was learning some new chords that I really don't pay attention to, like your flat sevens and stuff like that. And I didn't know that Abigail Flowers. Now, any of you watching this that have been strolling YouTube, I'm pretty sure you know Abigail Flowers. Abigail Flowers, I don't know why I was calling her April Flowers. Her name is spelled Abigail, Abigail. And I offended her one day because she came to, she did a set. She did it so quick she forgot to put clothes on. She had on her gown, her nightgown, like her and her husband were getting ready to make love or something. And I had to tell her that that wasn't appropriate for the video. Like, put some clothes on. Today, she was wearing a college sweatshirt. I guess this is the most recent video. It's only a few months ago or something. She's wearing this college sweatshirt or something. And I think she looked very, very, very stunning and very, very modest in her sweatshirt. And when I realized what she was teaching, because most people, she's 100%, all her lessons, especially over the last few years, are all baritone. Abigail Flowers, all her lessons are Abigail. All her lessons are baritone ukulele. All of them. She might have some going way back in time when she first started YouTube, where she did some tenor ukulele, but I don't know. I don't know that for sure. I didn't really visit her page. I just know I see her material every day, and I pass right by it. And today I decided to click on it, and she was teaching some chords. And one of the things that I have not done on the baritone ukulele, and I have to redo on the guitar, is I have to learn more chords than my basic chords, because when you get into what she was teaching today, flat sevens and flat fives and stuff like that, you can play everything that you play on the guitar on the ukulele, not just the baritone, but the ukulele culture, period. Here I have my soprano. Ooh, almost dropped it. Right here. Here's my soprano. And I decided to have one of these because of this. See the port? And I decided to do that. I bought this one for me. I'm giving my concert away. The only reason why I got this is because I have a low G on my tenor, and I don't play high G that often. So what I did was I got me another ukulele with a low G, or I'm sorry, a high G, which is standard. High G is standard for ukulele until you get to the baritone. Soprano, concert, and tenor are all high G. Only the baritone is low G by nature. Okay, but you can put. Now, most pros will not advise you to put a low G on a soprano, but the tenor and the concert, they're being sold with both high G and low G. But I got this one. I got this because not only is it a soprano, and I like the way it sounds. There's a good sound to it, but because of the side port and the fact that it's different with this being the sound hole, and I haven't tuned it, so I don't expect it to be all that great. But that right there, I love that about the high G is. Now, when I play it on the low G, like my tenor is low G, and so is my baritone, which that's natural for a baritone. I play that. I just hit it there. I trade that no dare for that one. So, but I wanted to keep a high G around the house because I'm getting ready to get rid of my concert, and sometimes when I play the concert, I miss it because that concert, that Cadoba I have behind me is a nice one. It's a nice one. I'm not too crazy about the way it's built. I think it's cheaply built, but it has a beautiful warm tone to it, and I can understand why my man Bosco and Honey, why he loves the concert so much, because it has a warm tone, but when you go to playing leads with it, it has a unique sound. But he has a, I don't know if it's a Martin concert or what kind of concert it is. I forget. I have a recording of his advertisement of it somewhere. It's really, 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 really a nice one. I think it's an expensive one, so it might be a Martin. I'm not sure, but the baritone. I listened to April Flowers today, and I listened to Terry Carter, and I listened to another guy. It's called Uke 101 or something like that. And lately, over the last few months, he's starting to do a workshop on the baritone. And I listened to these guys today. I listened to the chords. And one of the things that I've learned is that the only way this sounds like a guitar, the only way the baritone ukulele sounds like a guitar is if you play certain chords. Like if you play something like this. Something like that, you might sound similar to a guitar, but even with that, this high E string does not sound like this high E string. And people say, why are you playing 4 strings? Why don't you play a guitar? And I always tell them, I do play a guitar. I do play a guitar. I play guitar. So why are you playing 4 strings? Why don't you play a guitar? I do play a guitar. Okay? This is my number 1 right here. This is my baby. I played guitar before I got into the ukulele. Okay? This is my baby. This is my white mama. Look at that. This is my white mama. And I think it's going to be with me a long time. Okay? But now this is electric. When it comes to acoustic, I like to be on the ukuleles better than I like. But this does not sound that high E string does not sound like a baritone. And that baritone high E does not sound like a guitar. So when you're playing, you can hear the ukulele in the baritone. And if you're playing, when you play anything softer than your basic chords, you can hear the ukulele come out of this so clearly. And like most people say, they say, why don't you just get a baritone and forget about all the other ukuleles and just come up 5 frets, and so you're here at A. And I gotta admit, now we're even getting further away from the guitar. Even if you come up to this fret on the guitar, it's not going to sound like this. So, they were saying, what's his name? Terry Carter was just saying right behind the screen here. He was just talking about, and I get tired of people saying this. I understand what you're saying, but that would never work for me, and I don't think it works for most kids either. When you say, oh, well, the ukulele is an entry instrument to the guitar. Like my pastor at my church told me when I used to complain about traveling with my guitar and how I hate, I need a special guitar. I used to tell him I need a special guitar because, when I got to put my arm around the guitar like this, all this is all messed up, And he told me, he said 6 strings is 6 strings. 6 strings is 6 strings. And so I realized over time, I remember when I first got this at Guitar Center back in 2013, I believe I first got this at Guitar Center. Have I had this that long? Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got this before I moved here to Pittsburgh. I remember getting this at Guitar Center, and I walked in and I just looked at it, and I seen the spacings here between the notes, like your typical ukulele. The spacings here, I can put a whole finger in between those spacings, And right away, I said, well, that's different. And so I grabbed it without playing it or anything. I just grabbed it. And then I got home, and I'm watching all these videos about how much people keep saying that over and over again. Well, the baritone, the reason why the baritone's so good is because it's an entry instrument to the guitar. Well, I disagree, because I believe, like my pastor said, 6 strings are 6 strings and 4 strings are 4 strings. And on the flip, there's a guy here on YouTube that I was watching last night, and he's like me a lot. He's going through, he's done the tenor, he's done the baritone, and now he's doing the ukulele. And he went to complaining because he was comparing classical guitar with baritone. Just about 3 years ago, he was comparing the baritone with the classical guitar because they both have nylon strings. And that's another thing too. Nylon strings are nylon strings. Steel strings are steel strings. So maybe, of course, I listened to him compare this with the classical guitar. This does not sound like the classical guitar either. Now, can you play beautiful classical music on here? 100% you can. But this does not sound like your typical classical guitar if you really listen. And if you play it enough, you can be listening to a recording of this playing some of your most popular classical tunes, and you'll hear right away that this does not sound like a classical guitar. Now, one of the things that scares me, though, however, real quickly, is that, like in Hawaii, they make these expensive baritones and these expensive tenors that sound more like guitars. Okay? Like they have baritones. There was a baritone that Hawaiian Music Supply was demonstrating yesterday. This video is only like a month old. And there's this brand new, it's got to be expensive. I don't even want to know. I think I looked it up online. It had to be like over $1,000 for that uke. But they made it sound like a guitar, and he was playing it, and he was like, this does not sound like a ukulele. This sounds like a guitar. Well, he said that because he thought that would be a sales pitch. Now, for me, it wouldn't be. Because I have a guitar. I showed you I have a guitar. I don't want something that sounds like a guitar. And I also have my acoustic. I got to put strings on it, but it's a very nice acoustic. I got it sitting in the closet there. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a wonderful sounding acoustic. It's also steel strings. And it's a dreadnought, so I can handle a dreadnought. But I realize between this and the tenor, I love their acoustic sound. Another thing about the acoustic guitar that this does not have, this is softer about, is like the size of the body here and the steel strings and the type of wood used for the fretboard gives the acoustic guitar this after sound. Like you have aftertaste. You drink something or eat something and it has that aftertaste. This doesn't have that. This does not have that after sound where you hit the note and there's a ringing in there that only a guitar can perform. And a lot of people love that. I've never been attracted to that. All my time I've played acoustic guitar, I've never been attracted to that sound. Okay? And believe it or not, that 6-string ukulele behind me has more of that sound than this baritone does. That when I strum certain chords and certain strings on that ukulele, that gives me a little bit more of that. That sounds more like a guitar than this does. Okay. The other thing is, I had a friend who, like I said, 4 strings are 4 strings. And I said this to my friend, and like I said, the guy that was he was comparing this to a classical guitar, and I'm thinking 4 strings are 4 strings, 6 strings are 6 strings. Now, because I don't like this going on when I practice acoustically, okay, that ukulele behind me, I like that better than a guitar as well. I've come to realize over the years that acoustically, I like ukuleles. That's my genre. I like ukuleles when it comes to acoustic guitar, and I demonstrate this because I like on my playlist on my phone. I have a playlist with soft music in it. You know, ukulele favorites, verse guitar favorites, and all like that. I got everything in there together. And there are certain guitar players out there that make their guitars sound like something nobody else is making them sound like. And so I really like their stuff, but when you play simple tunes on a guitar, I'm not really impressed. But here, anything that they play off of a ukulele, I'm like, is that a ukulele? That sounds like a ukulele. And I'm impressed with it, because I've gotten used to its sound, and I've gotten used to its genre. And you know, there's so much here. Like when I come home, so many days a week, I will pick this up and play it. When I had my acoustic guitar out of the closet, it would sit there for days, weeks, months. I wouldn't touch it. But I cannot walk past this every day and not pick it up and play it. Same thing with my tenor. I can't just walk past it every day and play it. And so it's like, which one do I want to practice today? Do I want to practice the baritone, or do I want to practice the tenor? Sometimes I have a heart to practice the soprano, because the genre of the ukulele is a soprano. It starts off with the soprano. And the fact that that little soprano behind me right here, this little thing right here, can make beautiful music, is the beginning of the ukulele tradition. The fact that you can take that little tiny soprano and take a song that everybody plays on the guitar or plays on the piano or whatever, and make it sound even more prettier, more, you know, metallic, or real, you know, you can embellish the melody, embellish the chords, and make it sound so wonderful. The fact that all these ukuleles, they can play everything in the chord book. You can play major scales, you can play pentatonic scales, okay, on these ukuleles. And the baritone, my friend, I have a friend that I used to jam with. He used to come over to my house and we used to jam together. It's tragic whatever happened to him. He got married, and it was his second marriage, I think, and she divorced him or something, and he disappeared. I hope he's alive. He's just disappeared from the face of the earth. Nobody can find him. He just walked off the job one day and disappeared. And people would let me know before he walked off the job that he had decided, you know, that he had said that his wife was divorcing him. And they had only been married a couple years, you know. I'm like, wow, okay. So, I used to talk to him. He came over to my house. That's right. I did get this before 2015 when I moved here to Pittsburgh, because He used to come over my house and play this. He enjoyed the baritone because he was a guitar player. Now, on that note, okay, I agree. Okay, if you are already a guitar player and you don't like the high sound of the other three ukuleles, you like the deep sound or the deep, partially deep sound of the baritone because you play guitar and you like the ease of chord playing. There's things that you want to play that you find it easier to play that on the baritone because you love playing the guitar. How many people would I bet if I put a baritone in their hand that play electric guitar? How many people would I bet that play electric guitar that if I put a baritone in their hand, just like me, they'll probably not play regular acoustic guitar that often? It almost doesn't make sense to. Because if you play electric guitar and you play other instruments and you play, you play other instruments and you play electric guitar as well, like me, when you play something like this acoustically, you may never go back to playing regular guitar. I don't know. I feel like Jim Beloff taking his guitar to demonstrate theory on this, and the tenor taking his guitar out of the closet and he had to wipe all the dust off of it. You keep it around in case, bad guys break into your house. You need something bigger than a small gun, so you get the big gun out. But you really, really are comfortable with this, and that's the way I'm like that, and so is Jim Beloff. Actually, I'm comfortable with the tenor. The tenor is my favorite before the baritone. But lately I've been spending some time with this again. And I find that when it comes to certain songs, the baritone not only sounds better, but the deep, hollow sound of the baritone, and the fact that the strings are lighter, or easy to press, and that it just makes a song sound so, like a lot of tenors, when you come up here and you play something like you play the A up here, or you play this you got to really press down hard. Now maybe if you have a real expensive ukulele, you don't have to press down as hard, but I know that on most ukuleles I've ever played, the tenor and the soprano and the concert, when you get up here to this first fret, okay, like now here this is a different note, but when you play this A up here, or A7, I think, gotta be an A7. When you play this one note A7 up here, you gotta really press down on the tenor. But I think it becomes an E7 on the baritone. When you play it on the baritone, it's nice and clean. And I'm sure you've learned that from people talking about the baritone, that you can play all the Hawaiian stuff that you play on the tenor, you can play that on the baritone as well. It's going to sound a little bit deeper, and that treble sound is kind of what makes the ukulele. So yeah, you have to decide, what you wanna do in that case. But again, like I said the other day, these two strings here, I demonstrated to you why I love the deep tone and the regular linear tuning here for the baritone. How you can they say that the guy, I forget his name, but I was just talking about him. The guy that plays classical guitar, he went back into classical guitar, but he also has a ukulele and he has a baritone. Just mentioned him. He also was talking about how you can't play bass lines on a baritone. I said this before. Well, you got to be creative, because 4 strings are 4 strings. So if I'm a 4-string gangster, I don't really care if you can't play bass notes on the baritone or the tenor. That's what I have a guitar for. I have this for that. Okay? I also have a ukulele if I really want to play 6 strings. But, like I showed you in that one song I did the other day, you can improvise and play, you can improvise with these 2 notes, your 4th and your 3rd string. You can improvise and make up something to replace those bass lines. 4 strings or 4 strings. Be creative and work with what you got. I have 6-string guitar, boom, electric, and I also acoustically have the ukulele if I really, really want 6 strings that bad. But the uniqueness of the baritone is set. It wouldn't be unique if you could do everything on it that you could do on a classical guitar. The other thing is, what was I thinking of? Oh, the same Hawaiian tunes, if you use the same fingering, you can play them on the baritone just like you can a soprano and a tenor. Like this one here. So if I was to play the Hawaiian vamp, I think it's if I was to play the Hawaiian vamp the way you do it on the tenor, in that fingering, you're going to be in a different key, okay? In order for it to sound Hawaiian, you would have to play it in a different key. If you play it like it is on there, it's going to sound more guitarish, but not exactly guitarish, because like I said, this high E string really rings out in a bell-like way. It doesn't sound like, when you play guitar, your high notes blend right into your bass notes. Whereas on the baritone, it seems like you can separate them. So you could be playing something like this. Play this A minor, but if you add this note, okay, the guitar is going to sound deeper than that, even though the tuning is going to be different. It looks like I'm playing in 2 different registers here. And I was listening to Abigail Flowers, and she was playing all these chords, jazz chords and things of that nature, which I got them written down here. I got to practice them because not only do I not know them, but they sound really great together. So I got to practice that. That's a lesson for me. But you're not playing my point is, you're not playing a hybrid guitar. You're not playing a entry to the guitar. And if I said that, I apologize, because today I found out that's not true. 4 strings or 4 strings, 6 strings or 6 strings. And even though you're adding 2 strings to this in the bass when you play the guitar, still, it does not sound, when you put all these together, this does not sound. I've listened to guys here on YouTube play baritone ukuleles, which means that just like a guitar, it has 6 strings. It still didn't sound like a guitar because it's smaller, nylon strings, hollow. The hollowness is different. The body's different here. It does not sound the same. So, in my church, my pastor teaches kids sometimes how to play guitar. And I've seen people walk up to these kids and say, well, D-Roy plays the ukulele. If it's hard for you, maybe you should learn the ukulele. And these kids are like, when they realize that they're already playing 6 strings, why would they go down 2 strings? That's confusing. People think that's... No, it's not. You're going to confuse yourself. But the other good thing is about the baritone that people don't realize about the ukulele world period is that when you play the guitar, you don't play 6 strings. So the guitar is a lot about muting strings and not hitting strings. Muting strings and not hitting strings. Learning how to strum in a way to where you're only going to play from the 4th string down anyway. How many songs do you know that take all 6 strings? Usually they're bar chords, right, to take all 6 strings. But most of your most popular, famous positions, they do not play all 6 strings. They only play 4. And that's what's so beautiful about the baritone is not only are you playing less with just as much, okay, but you're also playing more, okay. You're also sounding just as good without just as much. That's what I'm going to say. So you're playing just as much with less, and you're sounding just as good as just as much without playing just as much. So in other words, you can take a chord on here that you normally would play that takes 6 strings to play, whether you're playing a bar chord or whether you're, it might have to be a bar chord on the guitar, but here it doesn't have to be a bar chord. You can play that same tune in 3 notes or 4 notes, okay? And it's going to sound different. It's going to sound like a different inversion of the chord that you're already playing on the guitar for that scale. So I just think that the ukulele is underrated. Baritone is definitely underrated. I've plucked around on this today, and I've listened to other people play it, and I realized that, people that can really play the baritone, I realized that this does not sound like a guitar. This is not an entry to help you play guitar or an entry to take you from the guitar. It might be an entry to take you from the guitar to the ukulele. I agree with Terry Carter on that. But I don't agree that this is an entry to get you to play the guitar. Maybe an entry to get you to play the ukulele coming down from the guitar. But, So, me playing this does not make me want to play guitar. And playing the guitar does not make me want to play this. But, playing this will make me want to investigate other 4-string instruments like the tenor, like the mandolin, I got a 3-string, well, it's really 4 strings. 2 of the strings are doubled, so it's really 4 strings. But I got my 3-string Merlin back there. It makes you want to investigate other instruments because you realize that 6 strings is overrated. Because most of the time when you play these instruments, you're not playing 6 strings anyway. You're either muting out a string or you're refusing to hit it. Okay? And usually if you're playing 6 strings, you're either barring them or you're using a lot of strength in your hand to play those 6 strings. And my friend used to come over to my house, like I said, and I never seen him work so hard to get, because he knew the guitar chord, but he didn't know the baritone chord. So I took my book. Everybody has this book right here. I took my book, this here one, Mel Bay. Is it Mel Bay? Yeah, Mel Bay's Baritone Uke chords. This has all the chords in it, all the basic ones. It don't have all that flat 5, sharp 7, all that kind of stuff in it that Abigail Flowers was practicing. But it's amazing that the fact that the ukulele can play all the same chords that you play on the guitar. They're just easier to play, but they sound just as great because, again, you're not playing 6 strings on a guitar anyway. You're going to learn how to fret in a way to where there's always a string that you ain't playing. Most of the time, there's 2 strings that you ain't playing. You're either muting one of the solo strings, or you're muting one or 2 of the bass strings to play, those chords. And I know some of my favorite chords on the guitar are the ones where you mute you play right in the middle and you mute this high E string, and you also mute the 6th string. Those are some of the easiest chords to play. Also, like your F chord. Now on the electric guitar, this is a little bit more difficult to play. Because here with the nylon strings, it's easier to press down that F chord. One finger is going to bar 2 strings. So, it's a little bit easier to play that. Even with chords that are played exactly like you play them on a guitar, they're going to be easier. Like, because your frets are shorter this way, and you also have more room between the strings this way, but yet the neck is about smaller this way as well than the guitar. So that's all I want to share. I'm going to stop there. 4 strings are 4 strings, folks. Get used to the 4 strings. Be creative. Not only on the baritone, but on your tenor or your soprano. Get used to those 4 strings. And then if you really want 6 strings, then 6 strings are 6 strings. Okay? And there's something about this baritone, I compared it with my ukulele. There's something about this baritone where the spacing between the strings and the inversions of the chords that only require 3 or 4 strings, it's just so wonderful and more melodic than what you're playing on the ukulele as well as what you're playing on the guitar. Okay, so you don't know what you're missing if you're judging, and if you're worried about, people and what they're going to say and all like that. Spend some time at home. Let me tell you something about people. People don't really care. They'll tease you, but people really don't care what you play as much as they care about how you are a master at what you play. People don't really care what you play, okay, as much as they care about whether or not you're a master at what you play. If you get up there with a ukulele and you play a horrible sound, you're all out of key. You not only make yourself look bad, you make the ukulele look bad, because these people don't listen to enough ukulele. They don't know much about a ukulele, baritone or tenor. They don't know enough. So if you mess up, you not only make yourself look bad, but you make your best friend look bad too. So my motto to you is, whatever instrument you play, whether you play 4 strings or 6 strings, one thing at a time, learn it until it becomes second nature before moving on to something else. And I'm finding that playing 4 strings is not only easier and takes just as much work, but yet it's easier. It's not only easier, but a lot of times it sounds better. It sounds better because the note that is missing makes the chord different. The nylon strings and the fact that it's a baritone. It's a baritone uke. So that's all I want to share, folks. 4 strings is 4 strings. 6 strings is 6 strings. Okay? Thank you for watching.